I explained this before. So everything gets repeated. So the judgment that fell on Jehudah and Jeshurun now falls to the enemies of Jehudah and Jeshurun. So as you can see, that the northern kingdom was the first kingdom that went into captivity. The southern kingdom, the last kingdom to fall under captivity. You will find that in the reading in Acts 8. That's when they went after the southern kingdom, the last kingdom to fall, Jehudah. And they went after and persecuted the followers of Jehoshua. And that's when they took our books, they burned them, they did away with certain books of Apocrypha, which means hidden knowledge, and they replaced the name of the Creator, his Son, the only name that saves, Jehoshua, and they replaced that with names like Lord, God, Jesus, and those other names of their gods. So you're giving your worship to their gods. And this is also the time that the Khazar stole our identity. In the scriptures, it tells you that we will be marked and sealed on our hand and on our forehead. Okay, so that means your worship and how you work. So Peter, upon this rock, Peter, I will build my church, which is the synagogue saying, by the way. Peter, meeting Peter and the rock. Well, that is Rockefeller, the fellow with the rock. That is the one that gave the world the religion that we know today. And now it's the Rothschilds, for Esau was red, a red child. They are the founding fathers of finances. So that's the one, that's your hand. So they marked and sealed us on our hand and on our forehead, and they're going to do it again.
Это Бог, не сатана. В иудаизме сатана – это и есть Бог.
Is that the British royal family has been flat-lie royal since 1840.
Explain that.
Flat-lie royal means illegitimate, not allowed on the throne. So, from the Battle of Waterloo, the British royal family lost all their money and they've been funded by the Rothschilds in exchange for breeding rights. So the Rothschilds had the breeding rights to the British royal family from 1819 to 2019.
So what was the purpose of the Rothschilds needing this?
The British royal family were virtually bankrupt from 1815. So the Rothschilds funded the British royal family in exchange for the Rothschilds breeding the royals. So the whole British royal family are Rothschild Batards. And Batard is the royal name for bastard. So what I did in my legal documents is I exposed King George V of England as being sired by Tsar Alexander III of Russia, and I exposed Queen Elizabeth II as sired by artificial insemination by Winston Churchill, who was actually the illegitimate son of King Edward VII.
Hang on.
I know, it gets too much, so I'll show you a chart.
Oh boy, here's a rabbit hole for you. Here's a rabbit hole for all of us. In the early 1900s, right around when the Federal Reserve was founded and the Balfour Declaration happened, right at that exact same time, the Rothschild family hired this dude, this pastor in the Deep South. He made a new version of the Bible called the Scofield Bible. He wrote this new Bible that has all these new interpretations of the text. So they didn't change.
With Jewish influence.
Yes, literally, that's where Judeo-Christianity kind of came from. And the idea that Israel is this modern Israel thing is the Israel of the Bible. It came from that Bible. And the Scofield Bible was funded by the Rothschild family. And then it was pushed because they owned the publisher that publishes like all the books. I think it was Oxford Press. And so they had the deals that they could make to get that Bible into all the mega churches across whole denominations of Christianity. And so that was when Christianity got kind of Jewified.
The philosophy or the movement of people who want to establish a new Israel as the center of a one-world government. In order to accomplish their goal, they, however, had to do one very important thing. They needed the support of the worldwide Christian community. They needed the churches on their side. So, in the 19th century, before Israel was founded, the Rothschilds worked closely with several people in Christianity. They attracted a man called Cyrus Scofield. He was a convicted criminal lawyer, an expert in fraud and forgery. He was asked to create a new Bible, the Scofield Study Bible. This was the first Bible in all of history to contain hundreds of footnotes. In these footnotes, a new doctrine was introduced into the American Evangelical Church, which says that there was to come a new political, military Israel, and that would be the place where the Messiah would come to rule the world. And they said that would be the fulfillment of the promise that God had made to Abraham, and that would also be the fulfillment of the promise that Christ would return to earth. This Bible was then spread all throughout America through the Moody Bible Institute, and it became the foundation for the current day evangelical theology. Nobody was aware that this Bible was directly funded by Satanists, and that it served the agenda to get Christianity on their side for establishing a new Israel that would become the headquarters of their one world government. And again, I know that all this sounds outrageous to many people who have never heard this before, but you can research this. And I encourage you to do your due diligence. I've studied this for decades, and I know what I'm talking about, but it's very difficult sometimes when you talk to people who are not informed, who have simply accepted a certain mindset, who have blindly believed that, and who repeat it to everybody else without ever doing their research. But all this is historical fact. The Scofield Study Bible was published by the Oxford University Press, which was owned by the Rothschilds. And this whole theology was first written out by John Darby, whose family owned the most haunted castle in the world, Leap Castle, where 150 dead bodies were found in the cellars and where satanic masses were held. John Darby used all kinds of occult terms in his religious writings. He was involved in many secret societies and occult groups. And he is the one who educated Cyrus Scofield. But John Darby was an employee of the Rothschilds. He worked for the East India Company.
A little controversial, but Elon Musk, he's not the president. Donald Trump, he's not the king. No, they're both just pawns. And why do I say this? Because Mahmoud Khalil, a Palestinian student activist, a U.S. permanent resident, green card holder, is being deported for exercising free speech. Specifically speech that our real king doesn't like.
מי שיחרים אותנו מוחרם בעצמו. בשנים האחרונות קידמנו בארצות הברית, ויש כבר ברוב המדינות שם, חוקים שמי שמחרים את ישראל נענש בעצמו.
Yeah, anyone who boycotts Israel will be punished. Nah, no way. This is America, and we have something called the Bill of Rights, the First Amendment of the Constitution. And make no mistake,